Issues with Jide. We talk about actions and inactions of those who shape our national landscape and how they impact us positively or otherwise. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Today on the show, Lagos State releases white paper on EndSARS panel report, and later on the show, Southeast governors want criminals impersonating IPOB ESN as court orders DSS to allow Nnamdi Kanu maximum comfort. In the course of the program, we'll take your questions, but first, subscribe to our YouTube channel and drop I have joining me via Zoom, the master himself, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, is at a function, and so we'll be somewhat breezy today because it's been a busy week for the maestro. Thank you so much for joining us on the program, BQ.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, so let's be breezy. Divided over the white paper
Lagos EndSARS panel. For instance, Mr. Femi Falana contended that state judicial panels have questionable powers to indict military and police officers, but another senior advocate, Mr. Mohammed Abeni, argued that the Lagos state government was right when it stated that it could not sanction the indicted security operatives. Where do you stand, BK?
I think the Lagos state government was right. The states do not have power over the police. Even the police commissioner in the state is not subject to the control of a state government. As I've said in the past, governors are not chief security officers in their states. They are actually chief security logistics officers of their states. They provide logistics, they provide funding for the police, they do their best to make the police comfortable. So they really do not have control over the police. The police is firmly on the exclusive list, and it is the federal authorities who exercise control over the police. For example, if a governor does not like a police commissioner in the state, you cannot transfer the police commissioner. The commissioner takes directives, the commissioner takes instructions from the center, from Abuja. So the Lagos State government was right when it said that it decided to refer some of the recommendations of the panel to the federal authorities, because it was clear to the state government that it's the federal authorities that can handle those matters. For example, the issue of training. The EndSARS panel recommended training for police officers. It is not within the purview of the Lagos state government to train the police. It is the IG, who is supervised by the president, that should come up with a training program for his men, and the panel also recommended that the welfare of policemen should be given adequate attention. Again, that is not for Lagos state government to decide, because the Lagos state government does not pay the salaries of policemen. It is the federal authorities that pay the salaries of policemen. So if we are saying that policemen are not well remunerated, if we are saying that we need to do a lot more by way of welfare for the police, then it is the federal authorities that should take care of that. I agree absolutely with the Lagos state government that it is possible for it to boost the morale of officers in its own way. And they're already doing that by coming up with some form of insurance for police officers who serve in Lagos, especially those who die in the course of service to their fatherland here in Lagos. So it is possible for Lagos State to reward such the families of such policemen. But Lagos State cannot increase the salaries of policemen, which is what EndSARS protesters desired and which was recommended by the panel. That is way out of the purview of the Lagos State authorities, and they were right in directing such recommendations to the federal authorities. The ones that is to do on its own, it has done. And I'm pleased to say that policemen who died in the course of the EndSARS protest, the families of those policemen have been reached by Lagos state authorities, and some cash rewards, if I could call them cash rewards, have already been given to the families of such policemen. I'm aware about 10 million given to those policemen. So Lagos State can continue to do its best to support the police the way it has always done, by providing the tools for the police to do its work. But it is limited in many ways. And one of those ways is the issue of remuneration for the police.
Compensation.
Right. The Lagos State government has not got the powers to do that.
All right, okay. So quickly, what do you make of the planned peace walk by the Lagos State government? There are some youthful plans to work with the governor, while others are vehemently against it. Would you rather prefer another approach to achieving peace in the land?
I don't see anything wrong in the suggestion of the Lagos State government in respect of the peace walk. What he wants to see is a Lagos that is totally healed. Someone who has every reason to be angry with EndSARS protesters because his mother's house was set ablaze. And before his eyes, a lot of Lagos State government properties were also set ablaze, including, of course, the mass transit buses, that we call BRT. They were set ablaze. Each of those buses cost between 80 to 120 million. How can people behave in that manner? Well, in spite of that, the government is saying, look, let me reach out to our grieved young people. Let's reach out to them and see how we can achieve lasting peace. I do not see anything wrong in having a peace walk. It's just symbolic, and it will help Lagos to achieve its goal of achieving total healing. But I understand why some of the young people who are part of the EndSARS protest are doing their best to not have anything to do with the governor of Lagos State, to not have anything to do with the vice president who had issued a similar invitation. So, but if they will not want to have a peace walk for that matter, no one is saying come and take gratification in the governor's office. It's calling for a peace walk. That you do a peace walk with the governor does not suggest that you are compromised. But if they are saying that they will not want to have a peace walk with the governor, then no problem. Other people will be willing to have a peace walk with the government. Other people who are interested in anything that the government tries to do with the intention of achieving the healing that Lagos desires. EndSARS protesters must realize that they can't always have their way. Sometimes they will have their way, sometimes they won't have their way. So we've had a terrible time in Lagos. Lagos would not want to see this sort of thing happen again. And whatever the governor thinks he can do to bring about lasting peace, to reconcile with all aggrieved parties, I will encourage him to do it. If some people will not buy his idea, others will buy his idea. As you can see, even students of LASU are saying, look, we are ready to work with you, Governor Sanwo-Olu. So there's nothing wrong in the peace work, in my view. And I will encourage the EndSARS protesters, these youngsters, to have a routine. To have a routine.
Okay.
That's no
Okay.
big deal about a peace war. And I'm
Okay,
surprised
Biko.
that they are mystifying it.
All right, Biko, because we had to drag you out of where you are, so we need to be breezy so that you can attend to the program that you are. Let's change tack by talking about the Nnamdi Kanu saga and the stories from the southeast region, where the governors have warned criminals using the name of the indigenous people of Biafra and their militant wing, the Eastern Security Network, to commit crimes in the region to stop doing so. Does it look to you that the governors have had enough?
I think they have. And it is becoming clear now that this problem has now gone beyond IPOB itself. IPOB has created a monster that has gone completely out of control. All kinds of people, including cultists, have hijacked the struggle and are now going around visiting mayhem on people, taking people's lives so cheaply, and even captured in videos, allegedly killing policemen or appearing to murder policemen. That has to stop. And the governors are saying that those using the name of IPOB to commit crime need to watch it. They need to stop. Otherwise, the long arm of the law will catch up with them. They've got to stop taking people's lives in the manner they are doing. And I do not blame the governors. IPOB has said that it is no longer interested in the Monday sit-at-home protests. He said the only time that he will permit the sit-at-home protest to take place is when they will be brought to court. But what do we see? In spite of the fact that IPOB, that instituted that civil disobedience in the first place, has decided that it is no longer interested in it. Yet, we see young people enforcing the sit-at-home order. IPOB has come out repeatedly that it has nothing to do with just sit-at-home orders being implemented on days that Nnamdi Kanu is not being brought to court. So it means that other people
Biko, are you there? Biko, if you can hear me. Okay.
Taking action to allow happen. The governors know that they have to do their best to rein in these young men who are killing people in the southeast in the name of IPOB. I think that the governors are convinced at this stage that not all of those attacks, not all of those killings are actually being carried out by ESN or IPOB. And that's why they came out with that warning that the young people who are doing this must stop. Otherwise, the long arm of the law will catch up with them.
Right, correct, Biko. So the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja then directed the security agency to give the detained IPOB leader maximum possible comfort in the detention facility. What's your opinion on this, Biko?
I think it makes sense because before now, Nnamdi Kanu had complained that he was not being treated fairly in the DSS detention facility. Of course, you know that he needs to have access to his lawyers anytime that he needs them, but that cannot always happen when he's kept in the DSS cell. That was why Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers pleaded that the judge should transfer him to Kuje prisons. But of course, the judge handling the case turned down that request. They know that at Kuje prison, they have greater freedom than they will have in the DSS facility. And the governor is, and the judge is saying, look, extend to him the rights that are normally accorded a detainee. Let him be able to worship his God the way he deems fit and when he deems fit. So do not treat him unfairly in custody. And it would then mean that if he wants to see his family members, they should design a program where that will enable him to see his family members when he wants to, that will enable him to see his lawyers when he wants to, and will enable him to confer with other people that is convinced that he needs to see at this time. So he's not a convict yet. So he is still entitled to his rights. When he gets convicted, of course, a lot of the rights that are due to him now will be lost when he gets convicted. But for now, he has not been found guilty. And as long as he has not been found guilty, he cannot be treated like someone already convicted. He has to be treated fairly. He has to be treated not inhumanely. If he's treated inhumanely, then his rights are being abridged. That is what the judge is saying. And I think it makes sense for the DSS to honor the word of the judge, to carry out the directive of the judge, and give Kanu opportunity to have access to his lawyers, to have access to members of his family and his friends.
Okay, Biko, let's go back to our first, let's get our first question, which is on the first topic that we discussed. Olushola Julius and Philian Akezi are saying similar thing. Olushola Julius says, Biko, this your cap depict that you're on the side of all Nigerians and democracy. Do you think that peace work is necessary? Philian Akezi is also saying, if the intention is genuine, then why did we have to wait for the panel to submit their reports before suggesting a peace walk? Lagos cannot be healed overnight.
I think that the time that the peace walk has come 1 year after the EndSARS debacle, that is significant. After 1 year, and after the submission of the report, and after the governor has shown good faith by implementing and agreeing to, by going ahead to implement and agreeing to implement some of the, or most of the recommendations of the panel, it shows that this is a governor that means well. Don't forget that this same Sanwo-Olu, he met with the EndSARS protesters. He listened to them and even took their demands before the president. If he wasn't interested in a solution to even march for over a kilometer, which was hijacked, then everyone began to see the EndSARS protesters as bad people. I do not see them as bad people. I do not regret supporting them, from the beginning. But I feel embarrassed by the way that and then began to set public buildings ablaze. There's nothing in my view that Governor Sanwo-Olu has done wrong. If he decided to organize the peace walk at this time, it is because, in his view, the panel has finished its sitting, the report is out. In his view, there has to be a closure to that matter. And what better way to find closer to the matter by ensuring that justice is done and by ensuring that the aggrieved people feel that, look, government has not left anyone behind. Government wants a solution to this matter.
All right.
No one can tell me that.
All right, Mikhail, can you hear me?
Behavior of our policemen. He
has to
from the beginning, and he has to get from the beginning, and it's just symbolic. It's just symbolic. It's like the Truth Commission in South Africa, calling people of different races together and having them talk about the injustices that they faced during the apartheid era. You know, so there's no big deal in the peace work or the time that the peace work is taking place.
Okay,
because it's just symbolic. Let us see ourselves as one people. Let's see ourselves as people who want to solve a problem, who want to ensure that this kind of problem does not happen again. You know?
Right, Mikhail, your point has been made.
One people who have made peace. So that is the thing.
Makes sense. Let me take this comment from just a comment, Mikhail, because I have a question, very important question to ask you to call it before we call it a wrap. Thomas, he says, are you saying it's impossible for the government to accept? Oh, okay, this question just jumped into my mouth. I was going to take Fabian's question. The governments of the southeastern region folded their hands and watched these criminals wreak mayhem and kept mute because they want to remain in power. Now they are speaking when it is beyond them. And Thomas is saying, are you saying it's impossible for the government to accept that people were really killed at the Lekki toll gate according to the finding of the panel is set up? Just very briefly, BK, very briefly.
No, the government is not saying that people are not killed. The forensic analysts already established that people, that corpses were brought back from Lekki dead. One of them with gunshot wounds, and the others without gunshot wounds. And I said, look, people could die in the form of the event of a stampede. People could inhale maybe tear gas or something, and if they're asthmatic, they could die. No one in his right senses will say nobody was killed or nobody died at Lekki. The forensic expert that was brought established that corpses were brought from Lekki. The only thing that was said was that, look, what happened was not a massacre. I don't think Governor Sanwo-Olu in good conscience will say that nobody was killed. No, and he has never said so. But the point of disagreement is the use of the word massacre. And I disagree to that. What happened was a massacre. Because massacre means death of so many people, multiple deaths, death of so many people. Some dictionaries even describe massacre as death of up to 1,000 people. Yes. So what happened in Lekki was not a massacre, but people were killed. People died in Lekki, people died in Lekki. And because of that, my suggestion is that in future, we should handle the matter better. Don't invite the army. The army is not trained to quell protests. Right. Use the police. The police should also be provided with the equipment like water cannon, rubber bullets, tear gas that they can use to disperse a crowd, an angry crowd. You don't need to bring in soldiers who think that all that they need to do is just simply shoot at people. No, you don't need that. Unfortunately, evidence is not sufficient to support the argument that there was a massacre. And as long as this evidence is not there,
there is no point being emotional or sentimental about it. Right.
And it is incumbent on those that indeed there was a massacre. As long as that proof is not available, people will feel safe to say that there was indeed no massacre. And I'm one of those people who believe that there was no massacre. But I will not say that nobody died at least.
Nobody died.
It will be conscienceless of me to say nobody died at least.
Nobody died. All right, BKO. Yeah, that being said, we're coasting on BKO, but I won't let us wrap this program because my producer said I should engage you. Just get your brief opinion about, your reaction on the incident at Dowen College, Lekki, where Sylvester Oromoni was allegedly tortured, which led to his death. This is happening in a boarding school where people expect children to imbibe complete morals and discipline. BKO, how appalling is this?
It's so tear-jerking, it's so perplexing that this has happened in a secondary school. But I know before now that cultism had already permeated our secondary schools. Cultists are in our secondary schools. Cultism is the biggest security problem facing Lagos State. And that was why the state came up with a new law on cultism. That law even seeks to punish parents in the event of the arrest of their children for cultism-related offenses. So now for cultism to have already gotten into secondary schools in Lagos, it shows that we have a very big problem on our hands. How the state government resolve this matter will determine whether this sort of thing will happen again. It is commonplace to bully people in schools, but to go to the extent that we have seen in the case of that school is downright condemnable and abominable. Aberrant behavior was on display, and Lagos State government has to come down hard to ensure that this sort of thing does not happen again. If people are allowed to waste the lives of other children in boarding house, then this problem will never end. Examples must be made of the students that already have been listed as having had a hand in the death of that boy. The school has questions to answer. No one will be quite pleased with some of the allegations that were raised or that the school tried to deflect. The school needs to do a better job of defending itself on this matter. But one thing is certain, Ibrahim, cultism is already alive and well in Lagos schools, Lagos secondary schools. It is a big problem in Lagos now. Even professional bodies, they already have cult groups. Artisans, vulcanizers, and the rest of them, they now belong to cult groups. It's a very big Lagos problem, and Governor Sanwo-Olu needs to wield the big stick.
Wow. Well, Biko, you've actually dropped another, note of concern for us. Maybe that will inform our conversation on next edition, because it's really, really a bombshell to find out what is happening in our environment, our immediate environment. But Biko, we need to let you go because you are attending.
Don't forget, we won the Issues With Jide won.
Yes, I was going there.
Awards, as the most innovative online television program last Sunday. So congratulations to us and to our viewers.
Yeah, congratulations. Because just like Fabian said, I think Olushola Julius Fabian saying that the position of your cap actually indicates that you're on the side of Nigerians, and I found that very amusing and interesting. At the same time, it's so didactic that we also believe that that's what it is.
Thanks.
All right, so thank you, BKO. We wish you best of luck as I think your sister or your brother is getting married today.
No,
so
my brother, my kid brother.
Your kid brother. Congratulations, BKO. Grandpa is in the midst.
Yes.
All right, so BKO, thank you very kindly. Let's say thank you to Olushola Julius too. Always Fabian Makaize, Thomas Ehiz, and some other people who also contributed to today's program, Baldwin Harry, and so on and so forth, and all the producers. That's our show for today's edition of Issues with Jide. Special thanks to you always, BKO, for those insightful analyses as always, and thanks to you, to our audience, for joining us on every edition. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, TVC News. Click on our subscribe button to get the latest information. And we say thank you again for also getting us that award, something that has not even gotten up to 1 year, and we're winning awards already. Thank you so much for being there, our audience, and BKO, and all the producers, right here in the studio with me. I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. Bye for now.